Family parties in our house were never really about celebration. They were about performance. Who dressed best? Whose kids were most successful? Who brought the most impressive dish? And every single time, without being asked, I cooked. Not because I had to. Because it was the only thing that felt like mine. This time, it was my grandmother's anniversary dinner. 40 people. Maybe more. My mom had been stressing for weeks about what people will think. I offered to handle the food. She hesitated for half a second. "Are you sure?" she asked. That should have been my first warning. But I ignored it. For 3 days, I planned everything. I tested recipes. Adjusted spices. Woke up early the morning of the party to marinate, slow cook, bake, garnish. My kitchen smelled like effort. By the time guests started arriving, the dining table looked beautiful. Steam rising. Colors balanced. Plates arranged carefully. I stood back for a moment and let myself feel proud. Then the comments started. "Wow, you made all this?" one aunt asked. "Yes," I said, smiling. She nodded politely. "Well, we'll see how it tastes." Small joke. Light tone. But I'd grown up fluent in those tones. Dinner began. People filled their plates. Conversations layered over clinking cutlery. For 10 minutes, I watched silently. Plates were emptying. Cousins went back for seconds. Someone asked what spices I used. And then, my dad cleared his throat. He didn't stand. Didn't yell. He just spoke loud enough for the table to hear. "Well," he said casually, "let's be honest, no one really likes the food you cook." The room froze. My mom laughed lightly. "Yes, people are just being polite." A few uncomfortable chuckles followed. I felt my chest tighten. Someone muttered, "It's actually good." But my dad cut in. "It's okay. Not everyone has talent." Talent. The word echoed. I stood there holding a serving spoon, suddenly aware of how ridiculous I must look, trying so hard for people who had already decided the outcome. My cousin avoided eye contact. My aunt focused very hard on her plate. No one defended me. No one said, "That's not true." Because in this house, my parents' opinions were facts. I slowly put the spoon down. Smiled. "Oh," I said softly. "Good to know." My mom waved her hand dismissively. "Don't be sensitive. We're just honest." Honest. That word again. Honesty, in our house, only flowed downward. After that, the food tasted different to me. Bitter. Heavy. I couldn't swallow more than 2 bites. But I kept moving. Refilling water. Clearing plates. Acting normal. Because that's what I'd always done. Later, in the kitchen, I overheard my dad talking to my uncle. "They need to toughen up," he said. "If I don't tell them the truth, who will?" Truth. Was it truth? Or control? When most guests had left, I stood alone washing dishes. Grease clung to the pans. My hands smelled like garlic and humiliation. My mom walked in. "You know," she said casually, "next time maybe let someone else cook. It's just not really your thing." Not my thing. I looked at the sink full of evidence of my effort. 3 days. Sleepless nights. Careful planning. Reduced to a sentence. Something inside me didn't break. It settled. A quiet understanding. If no one liked the food I cooked, then I would stop cooking for people who needed me small. That night, instead of crying, I did something different. I opened my laptop. I searched for local food markets. Pop-up stalls. Community cooking competitions. Cafe partnerships. I scrolled for hours. And then I found it. A weekend food fair accepting independent cooks. Application deadline. Midnight. I looked at the clock. 11:17 p.m. I didn't overthink it. I filled out the form. Attached photos of my dishes. Wrote a short description. Home food made with patience, not performance. Then I hit submit. For the first time that day, I felt steady. Not angry. Not hurt. Clear. At the next family gathering, when my mom texted, "What are you bringing this time?" I typed back. Nothing. 3 dots appeared instantly. Why? I stared at the screen before replying. Since no one likes my food. I thought I'd save everyone the trouble. She didn't respond for a long time. And that silence felt better than any compliment I'd ever chased. If you want, I'll write part 2, 3,500 characters, where the food fair changes everything. Parents start hearing about you from other people. The email came 3 days later. Application approved. I read it twice to be sure. They gave me a small stall. Saturday and Sunday. I had 1 week to prepare. No backup plan. No family support. Just me, and the same food that apparently no one liked. I didn't tell my parents. Not because I was hiding it, but because I was done asking for belief. The week moved fast. I refined the menu. Simplified dishes that could handle volume. Calculated costs. Bought packaging with my own savings. The night before the fair, I barely slept. Not from doubt. From anticipation. Saturday morning, I set up my stall between a dessert baker and a street taco vendor. The air smelled like sugar and spice and competition. At first, no one stopped. Then one person did. She studied the menu. Ordered 1 plate. I watched her take the first bite. No reaction. Second bite. Then she nodded slowly and said, "This tastes like someone cared." She finished everything. And then she brought her husband back. By noon, there was a line. By 3 p.m., I had sold out. Completely. The organizer came over, impressed. "You coming back tomorrow?" "Yes," I said, trying not to sound shocked. Sunday was bigger. People returned from the day before. One man said, "I came back just for this." Another asked if I catered private events. Someone tagged my stall on social media. My name, attached to praise. Real praise. Not polite family silence. Not forced honesty. When I got home that evening, exhausted and smelling like spices and success, my phone was buzzing. Notifications. Messages. And one text from my cousin. "Why didn't you tell us you were at the food fair? People are talking about you." Talking. Interesting. The next family gathering felt different before I even walked in. My uncle greeted me at the door. "So, chef," he said with a grin. My dad was in the living room. When our eyes met, he didn't joke. Didn't smirk. He asked, carefully, "How was that event?" "Sold out," I replied simply. He nodded once. My mom added quickly, "Well, fairs are different. It's not the same as cooking for family." I smiled politely. "You're right," I said. It wasn't the same. Strangers paid. Strangers appreciated. Strangers came back. At dinner, catering trays covered the table again. No one had asked me to cook. But this time, people asked questions. "How many plates did you sell? Are you doing another one? Can we come next time?" I answered calmly. Gave dates. Shared details. Not seeking approval. Just stating facts. Halfway through the meal, my aunt said loudly, "You should cook for us again sometime." The room shifted toward my parents. Waiting. My dad cleared his throat. "Well, maybe we judged too quickly." Too quickly. That's what he called it. I didn't correct him. I didn't need to. Because for the first time, the narrative wasn't theirs. It was mine. And they had heard about me. From other people. The big public moment. Parents asking you to cook for something important. The real test came a month later. My parents were hosting an important anniversary dinner. Not just family this time. Business friends, respected guests, people whose opinions actually mattered to them. 3 days before the event, my mom called. Her voice was softer than usual. "We were wondering if you'd like to cook." Not "can you?" Not "you have to." Like to. I let the silence stretch just a little. "For this dinner?" I asked calmly. "Yes," she said. "People keep talking about your food. We thought it would be nice." Nice. I almost smiled. Months ago, I was not talented. Now I was an asset. I'm available, I said. But I don't cook for free anymore. Another pause. Oh, she replied. Of course. Of course. We agreed on a menu. A price. Clear expectations. No jokes. No backhanded honesty. The night of the dinner, I arrived early. Took control of the kitchen. Moved with confidence I didn't have before. When the guests began eating, something different filled the room. Not forced politeness. Genuine reactions. This is incredible. Who catered this? You must give me their contact. My dad stood a little straighter when he said my name. Not dismissive. Proud. Halfway through the night, one guest laughed and said, "You're lucky to have such talent in the family." My dad looked at me across the table. For a second, I saw it. Regret. Later, when most guests had left, my mom approached quietly. "You really proved us wrong," she admitted. I wiped my hands on a towel. "No," I said gently. "I just stopped trying to prove you right." She didn't respond. And for the first time in my life, the kitchen felt like mine. Not because they approved, but because I did.